Hello, hello, everybody. Hope your day is going well. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. I had to look. Ooh, that means Taco Tuesday today. It's been a while since I've had those, so that's what we're doing. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dory. Glad to see you. My shed lines. Jeep girl, beep beep. Foxglove. One of your regulars, Eve, changed my name. Oh, I didn't know. Now I do. Awesome. Glad you're here. Aggie Willett. Hello, hello. Brooklyn, my Gemini queen. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. I should get on the right screen, probably. That would help. Yay, now I can get my chat. Sorry. I was like, why isn't my chat not working? It's me. It's me. Pregnancy brain, right? Hellcat, me too, girl. I need tacos right now. I'm so hungry. But, like I'm in that mid-stage pregnancy where everything sounds good, but nothing sounds good. I can literally buy something that I want. Let's just, for instance, say Doritos, but I don't like them normally. And then I smell them and it's over. I'm at that point where it's like, man, I can't win. And then everything that I can eat gives me heartburn and I just give up. Hey, Cats Gallery. Hey, Cass. Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. It could be authentic tacos. It could be, homemade tacos. It doesn't matter. Tacos are tacos. Jeep Girl says, it's very sad Michael doesn't get the same amount of attention. Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, as unfortunate as it is with, Michael and Summer, okay? Because on one hand, you have Summer who is getting a lot of attention, but is it really the best attention that she deserves? No. Matter of fact, it's very unfortunate that it has to be this dramatic, and Dawn Wells and Candace Bly acting a fool and all of these other creators are doing the same thing that we started out with. And it's just like, okay, y'all are going to do what you're going to do as usual. So let's just move on and do the right thing and not give a shit, because these kids matter. The drama is going to always be there. Hey, sweet dope. Ooh, street corn. Yum. Oh my God. Okay. If y'all have like an HEB or a Costco or like a Sam's Club, you have to try their corn dip, their street corn dip. So good. One of my favorite things to eat. But, before this big foot of a baby, when I can enjoy food. Yes, we can equally want the same amount of attention for each of these missing kids. That's right. And we should. And you know what? On this channel, let's do that. I'm not always good about updating regularly, especially when there isn't anything to update on. But, I'm not one of those creators that, for one, I'm not a clip channel, obviously. And two, there's a lot of cases out there. It's impossible. I'm not honed in on just one. I'm always looking and always researching, always looking for what can we learn? What are we missing? Going back to even 20 years ago with the basics of like why these things happen to children. And one thing that I really want to hone in on is with Summer Wells, potentially the trafficking situation, right? I want you guys to look at the very beginning with me and kind of theorize why professionals, law enforcement professionals, said these little things. They give you little clues as to what's going on, even though they might not say much at the time. When you look back at it, you're like, I see now. And I want you guys to see if you catch it or if I'm looking way too deep into it, because I do that too. I'm crazy. But I'm crazy for, finding missing children. So it all works out. So we're going to start with Summer Wells today. And, okay, be safe, dope. I think that we need to go back to the beginning, like I've always said, with these, cold cases, quote unquote. Even if they're not cold, I call them cold to me. If there's nothing being done, nothing's being said, no charges, things like that. So the first thing that I want to go over, which is so important to me when I was listening to this earlier today and last night, I was so tired last night that I couldn't really focus. So I listened to it again. And it is this article, which doesn't seem like much. It's just an article that says, exclusive search for Summer Wells has scaled back, but the investigation continues. All right, that makes sense. But reading what the Amber Alert coordinator for Tennessee, I think that's her name, Margie Quinn. Yeah, Margie Quinn. She headed up the state's Amber Alert program for 11 years before leaving the TBI as an expert in human trafficking. All right. This is what she said. I'm going to pause this. Unfortunately, sometimes missing children are never found, as we know. Take the high-profile case of Joe Clyde Daniels, for example. His father was convicted of murder, but the boy's remains were never found. The question many ask, what's the fate of Summer Wells? It's very interesting when you listen to these or read these articles, what is being said before a question and after a question. Because that's the mind of whoever is writing it, right? So that's something that they're thinking about. Whoever is writing this, which was News Channel 5 Nashville, Nick Barris, July 19th, 2021. It has been more than a month at this point since 5-year-old Summer was reported missing from her home. That is a long time for a missing child. Quote, the longer you go, the less likely you will have a successful recovery. About 1% of children survive longer than 24 hours. And that is talking about a stranger abduction under nefarious circumstances. And the child typically either knows the predator or abductor somehow, some way, either through family, associates, or friends. And very rarely is it just at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? And they call these 1%ers the survivors within 24 hours if they get away. Very rare, but it does happen. So she says, we hope Summer Wells will be that 1%er. She's going to be that 1%er, said Margie. But of course, realistically, we know that was not, I'm sure, on everybody's mind. After at least the first week, we were like, oh, shit. I think we all could agree. But, you want to be that voice of hope, right? So I get it. Especially if you're involved in the Amber Alert system, you want to be that positive voice. But I think we all can conclude that she was being very nice. Because this is what she says. Again, after leaving the Amber Alert program, after 11 years, leaving the TBI, she was an expert in human trafficking, all right? She is not involved in the Wells investigation, but she followed it and knows abduction is a strong possibility, but not likely for human trafficking. Let me repeat that. She follows the case. She's not involved in the investigation, rather. But abduction is a strong possibility, but not likely for human trafficking. There are two things that I can think of when reading that. And that is, the theory is obviously from Dawn and Candace, in my opinion. and even grandest, is that she was taken off of that hill to be trafficked or sold or hurt. Like, that is the consensus that I think that we can all agree on that they believe. However, Candace recently said, hey, she's alive. I just know she is. So then you have to think, well, is that just a mom, either playing games with our minds, lying to herself to keep hope, or does she really know? And if she did, and she actually was alive, then more than likely, it's somebody she knows very well. That's the statistic. So what do you guys think? I really want to see your comments in chat so we can talk about this. Give me just 1 second. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, what do you think? Put it in the chat. And go ahead and hit that like button while you're sitting here listening to me. I've noticed the support. Seems like there are people out there trying to find out who several people are. The difference between these two angels are that one they know was abducted, and the other, quote, the card team says no signs of abduction. Well, there was somebody, I cannot remember the creator's name. I will definitely put it in my description box and at them. But I saw where they clipped Jody Sue Brown talking about what law enforcement was speaking to her about. And it was about a controlled abduction. And I was like, did I finally find the name of an abduction that was actually reported as a false abduction, but it was an actual abduction? Because to me, it's like trafficking or being sold or telling someone to go do something with your child. And it does happen. They are more than likely going to be sold by the parents or somebody around them within the home that they know and care for and are dependent on when it comes to trafficking children. That's the question, right? Do they know them? This person, these people, whatever. And here's where it gets interesting, guys. Here's where it gets interesting. That's always the public's first thought when that they have been abducted, and trafficked. So let me repeat that. That's always the public's first thought, that they've been abducted and trafficked. People who traffic are not going to abduct them. It brings too much attention. So what she's saying is that abduction is a strong possibility, but not likely for human trafficking. So okay. Now I'm thinking there's really only two possibilities here when it comes to abduction. And that is controlled abduction, where you know damn well what's going on. And it's planned. It's almost a conspiracy. A lot of charges, like when somebody sells their own child and they die, it's conspiracy. So let's just call it conspiracy. But AKA what I mean is controlled abduction. It's either that or the less than 1% chance that somebody went up on that hill, grabbed her, and got gone with nobody alerting, no dogs alerting, no nothing, just poof, vanished. Which one do you think, in your honest opinion, is more likely, statistically and logically, right? Brooklyn says the first day, week, month, and year is the most important. When a child goes missing, more could have been done on both sides. Correct. I was hearing lately about how Summer Wells' parents, or at least Candace and Grandis, and everybody was just kind of hanging out, not really wanting to do much. I've heard all of the conflicting stories. Like, we've heard it all. But, people have heard law enforcement say this is strange. I've even heard, people from EquiSearch say that was just a strange situation. Very odd. Dave Rader said himself, I'm not sure if she ever came back to the house that day, right? There's a 2 to 4 hour, in my opinion, gap in time. You know, there's a lot that we just can't figure out, right? We don't know because we aren't investigators, but we really don't have to be investigators to know that if you don't have the information and you get offensive about it, and there's always somebody else to blame for it, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So who are y'all protecting? Who is there somebody that may have done this that you know damn well did do this? Was it on purpose? Was it controlled? Was it out of your control? Did you owe something? Did you piss somebody off? You know, your behavior, Candace Bly, for instance, in March of 2021, you threatened to blow up the Walmarts over there where Allie worked and got a disorderly conduct charge. And your last quote unquote hearing and disposition date was June 9th, which was 6 days, almost a week before Summer went missing. Dawn had court right before she went missing. I can't tell you the exact date, but it was right before. Nobody wants to talk about those things. Like that didn't even happen. No matter if they went to court or not, you had that going on in your life and nothing is said about it. Nothing. It's very concerning. It's what you don't say, right? Sometimes. Who cares what the world thinks of you? Because in my opinion, my children, my family, that's what matters. And people that I love. Everybody else can. I love you all, by the way. I'm not saying this at you. I'm just saying this in general. Everybody else, eat a bag of rocks, right? Could care less. I'll air my whole laundry out. My dirty, my clean, my not so clean, my semi-dirty, semi-clean. It doesn't matter. I would lay it all out. It didn't matter. That's just how I feel. Hybrid Pisces, this is a great point. If CPS rumors are true and Summer needed to get gone to save Dawn his third strike, which is what I think, I do. I imagine a sale, the S8, unaliving, sadly. The connections were in place for it as was the first. Yeah, you know, a lot of people are like, there's no way. It was an accident cover-up. It was an accident cover-up. It could be. It could be. It could be more than that. There are parents sometimes that have to get rid of the child that would be the most damning in CPS cases, who have the worst signs of neglect or the most obvious signs or whatever it may be, to protect what they think they should be protecting, which is the family unit that they never really had in the first place. And that's that drug mentality. When you're high on drugs, you're stuck in the same place before you started that drug. So let's say you were 20 years old and you started doing the hardest drugs that you could, and you've been doing them for 20 plus 30 years. You're in 20-year-old mind. You're not in the current state that you should be in. You stopped growing mentally. And you don't fully develop your frontal cortex until 25 to 28. So, and I'm saying this because Dawn and Candace have been on drugs for a very long time. Very long time. So, having said that, when I read this, it was just, as small as it seems, it's really a big deal to me. But it could go either way. It was Summer actually abducted and she's that quote unquote less than 1%. I doubt it. Excuse me, I doubt it. But on the other hand, could she have been controlled in a controlled abduction case? Absolutely. She could be. Everything is still on the table on both Michael and Summer's case, right? Okay, so let's finish this. The Summer Wells case has been highly publicized. If she were to suddenly show up on the internet site, people would know. She's not there. She's saying, she ain't on the internet, y'all. She's not where trafficked children typically end up on. Okay? It does happen that way. That is how our world works. Communications, entertainment of the worst kind, right? Predators, everything is through the web. So she's not there, is what she's saying. Not yet, anyway, at this point. So, what are the TBI and the FBI currently doing? In any case like that, where you've had like 900 leads, you've got to look at every possible angle. Says Jeremy Lovequest. He is a TBI special agent in charge working on abductions and human trafficking. And I have been studying this guy, and he has a lot to say. And what he says is that everybody thinks that human trafficking or child trafficking is always SA related, always. Not necessarily. There's labor, there's other things, and actually it's more rare for the children to be trafficked as in a sense of groups for the worst that we could think of. And it's typically, if they are trafficked for whatever reason, it's from somebody within the home that they were closest to and that they were dependent on, of all people. So here's my bad news to Dawn and Candace, who were sticking to the theory that she was abducted and then trafficked, because that's their big MO, right? That they think is what happened. First of all, if you think that somebody kept her alive, it's very unlikely, because it's not going to be a trafficking situation. It's probably going to be a predator gone wrong situation where her life ended very, very quickly after she was abducted. So there's that. On the other hand, if she was trafficked, this is not what they're going to do. They're not going to just steal her off of a random hill. That is not how it's going to work. But I do want to be open-minded, and I do want to research this human trafficking issue that specifically Western and Eastern Tennessee have. They have a horrible trafficking problem. And mostly it is prostitution, trafficking, labor trafficking, and things like that. And it's usually the family. Sometimes it's even the husband. It's weird. Trafficking is not what everybody, I believe, thinks it is, It's more complicated and more complex sometimes. And sometimes it isn't. Let's see what Foxglove. I'm going to catch up with chat. I believe Candace has advanced FAS and lacks the ability to properly bond, sadly. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Yeah, that was my theory too. She's got the same thin lips, wide eyes, elongated nose to lip ratio. Yep, hybrid. I've always said that, but I hate to say that too, because I could be wrong and just be an asshole, but it's, it kind of looks that way. Don knows no bounds to save himself, right? This could be a huge ring, drugs and trafficking. It could be. However, the statistics say that if you're going to be trafficked, it's going to be very discreetly and within your own family, and nobody says anything about it for a while. But because CPS is involved, this is why I think that trafficking could be a possibility. There's angles here that make these abductions or alleged reported abductions so hard, right? Because they don't have phones. 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds usually don't have phones, especially in poorer rural communities or drug addict parents. They don't care enough. So it's hard for them to leave a trail of themselves because their parents control that, right? Parents panel hopping, cash app gifts, anything anyone would give them free. Monkeys, both parents stand beside LE on the news. Summer mother does not. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with some of that. I am very fair when it comes to parents of missing children. There has been lots of donations given to the parents of Michael Vaughan. And Tyler Vaughan, I have not seen him but maybe twice this entire 2 years. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, Brandi does a good job at least putting herself in the eye of somewhere, some chat, some YouTuber, some panel, some whatever, But at the end of the day, where's Tyler Vaughan and where's Bob Vaughan and where's everybody else that was supposed to be there for her and Michael Vaughan more than anybody? That is my problem with everything. But but we'll get there. We'll get there. But I appreciate that you said that because, I want anybody who is an ally for a missing parent, if that's what you want to do it. Do it. Be there. Lenny Pooh, Eve, do you remember someone had a trail cam video stating a red truck was on the trail? Yeah, that was, the other Scott. Not Scott H, but Scotty, who took a trip to Kingsport. Cat's Gallery, the thing that stood out to me was the entrance to the basement bedrooms, aka mattresses, because it was like a hidden cupboard. Right. Like if anybody's going to be in a dungeon, it was when she was actually at her home. Right? Right, Crystal, no free handouts. I'm pretty sure all of the children in the home got a lot of gifts and a lot of everything. There was a lot. They aren't hurt. They weren't hurting for anything. But they also weren't asking for it. Like, there is a difference between, I guess Dawn and Brandi in a sense that there is a stark difference in behavior. But I've always chopped that up too because Dawn can't hide they're crazy. Dawn doesn't have the critical thinking skills to be like, maybe that was inappropriate. Because their drugs, Dawn specifically has 10 plus years more of drugs that Tyler Vaughan has done. Yeah, I said it. I said what I said. Tyler Vaughan has had drug charges and somehow cleaned up right around the time Brandi got pregnant with Michael, so don't come at me. But Dawn reverted. Dawn just kept going, or not reverted. He kept going on the drug binge. He never stopped. So, I don't want to compare them today, though. I'm not going to do it. None of your business. You know what? I'm going to put your comment up here, and I'm not going to say it, but if you want to read it, guys, read it and sit on it for a little bit and just soak that in. Soak that in. Yeah. Foxcliff says H was carjacking, just happened to be a baby inside for initiation to a gang as per his dad, right, Andrew. Now I have something before I jump to Michael Vaughan's case because I want to have equal time here for both. And I only have an hour. But there is something that I found very recently that I would like for you guys to watch. You know how we talked about the cornbread mafia so many times in Summer's case? Look at this. Look at this. In 2019, high-ranking Vice Lords member arrested in Kingsport, 2 others arrested. If you don't know who the Vice Lords are, they're a gang that does drugs, trafficking, human trafficking, murders for hire things. They do it all. They do it all. And they are based out of, Chicago. All right? That's where they're based out of. And they set up shop in Tennessee, y'all. In western and eastern Tennessee, which is Memphis, Knoxville, Sullivan County, Greene County, Hawkins County and all that. Johnson City area, blah, 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 blah. So, homeboy in 2019, Dustin Keith Overbay, who is on that family is on my sus list because of the ties of how close they are to, not in the sense of like closeness, bonding, but physical addresses. They're on my list. Absolutely. And they have had, family that have some pull in Sullivan County and Hawkins County. But Anyway, homeboy was arrested back in 2019 at his home on Skyland Drive in Kingsport on outstanding felony warrants for Hawkins and Sullivan County. He is a high-ranking member of the Vice Lords gang. Confirmed to be at the home by members of the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office Vice and Narcotics Department. I mean, they have their own county department for Vice Lords. Can you believe that? Like, I was really scared to put this out there and, like, even bring it up. But you know what? Summer Wells matters. So I'm gonna. I know, Brooklyn, right? Yeah. Brooklyn says in Chicago is one of the biggest trafficking hubs that spreads out to the rest of the country. Right. Right. And that's why when I was researching this, I want to be fair and say, okay, I want to call out Don and Candace for why they think the abduction and trafficking happened, because I get it. But I also want, and give them the stats. But I also want to explore it because it could damn well be. And it could be both one of the parents or both of the parents and trafficking. It could be a controlled abduction. And it may not be. So that's why I'm doing this, because we want to be fair. We want to look at all of it. Da 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 da. All right. So this was, again, June 2019. Kingsport Police Department responded to a trailer park after receiving a call that Overbay might be there. He was arrested at the home of Matthew Carpenter and his grandma. There's Matthew. Oof. Definite drug usage. Matthew Carpenter was found downstairs with a sawed-off shotgun and a semi-automatic pistol that was found to be stolen out of Kingsport. There was a guy named Brian Belcher who was found in the garage. He had an active warrant for his arrest in the state of Virginia. There he is. Does not look happy. Doesn't look happy. Not at all. Not very lucky there with your shamrock. There was 3 grams of meth was found in the home. Carpenter's grandmother was not involved in any way. And other people in the home were detained and released. Overbay was arrested on an outstanding warrant, charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Anyway, he's part of the Vice Lord. He was a high-ranking member. They have these ranking systems there. All right. Now, there was another one, more recent, actually, that got busted. Let me go find him. He was actually arrested in Rogersville, I believe. It was a Vice Lord in Rogersville. (2020). We have this man who is a high-ranking member. He has ties to them. History of SA trafficking. And he had guns and drugs. And when I tell you this man had guns, he had guns. He was ready for the end of the world. Okay. So this is what had happened. Again, 2020. What? Let me see. September. That's not very long before June 15, 2021, okay? That's not. So an officer saw that he had crashed in a ditch. He was asleep and his truck was running, but he crashed in this ditch. When the officer woke him up, he identified himself as Marcus Washington. He reportedly began trying to put the syringe that was stuck in his leg back into his pocket. So he had nodded off from heroin. Washington said he had become sleepy and must have fallen asleep. So he had 2 active arrest warrants issued out of Knox County, where Knoxville is. And it was a violation of a SO registry requirement. He failed to register as a SO. So he already had that on his record way before this. While searching the vehicle, okay, There was a Mary Jane grinder, syringes, a cut straw, butane lighter, bottle caps, 2 different types of powder, a Russian-American saga? I don't even know. Mr. Eve is going to kill me if I don't get this right. But anyway, a 12 semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun, a black shotgun magazine, 5 12-gauge rounds, a silver Brico Arms .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol. Bro was ready. Like, if he wasn't nodding off on heroin, he probably would have taken that poor cop out. Right? Anyway. His criminal history: kidnapping, human SA charges, possession of firearms, dangerous drugs. He's a violent criminal. Also been confirmed to be affiliated member of the Vice Lord gang. So maybe the cornbread mafia was a code word for people that didn't want to actually call out Vice Lords because they're scary as hell. They are scary. I would not want to be in their path. I'm nervous enough as it is just talking about them. But these are scary people that set up shop around there. It's very scary. And it almost feels to me like, no disrespect to the meth heads or crackheads in Sullivan and Hawkins County, but like, these are the pimps over the criminals in that county, in Hawkins County in Tennessee. Like, these are the big wigs that come down to make sure things are going properly. And the people who have been living there, who get hooked on these drugs, are doing the dirty, dirty work. Right? Very scary. I'm going to check with chat. Cheap girl, I honestly don't feel the Wondras are or were in any shape or condition to do anything they were accused of. Other people in the home, possibly, right? Right. Well, the Bly family has a way, right? Rose is one I studied closely. Same. Lots of web sleuths protecting the hubby and sister, yet Bly's sister Jeannie spoke of Rose in a swamp, drinkers talk. You know, Lenny, I'm glad that you and I agree on a lot of things. I appreciate your comments because I am on the same page as you. Let's just say that. And I hate that we can't just prove that. But like, behavior is behavior. It could be odd and innocent, or it could be odd and suspicious. But it's hard to know to say those things without any backlash, especially in this case, right? Yep. Lenny, I agree. You know, I bet you're probably talking about my favorite love, Lisa, who knows every angle of the Rose Bly case. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Brooklyn. Yes, she's right. Lenny, your comments on Rose are welcome. Mm-hmm. Just don't say that you know something for a fact when you don't, like Lisa K. Ruiz. I will lose my shit. All right, so we're going to go on to Michael Vaughan. Lenny, yeah, absolutely. Please do. Please do. My email is in my about section of my page. Yep, drinkers do talk. And that's what we're waiting on. Somebody to slip up and spill the beans. In both cases, honestly. So, Michael Vaughan, what is the latest and what's going on with this case? Well, Sarah Wondra, failure to report a death charge was dropped. They refiled old charges from 2022, in my opinion, to try to work something out in some way, shape, or form, or to just punish her anyway. I don't know. But I wanted to go over the case law very quickly. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of it, but basically, this woman had overdosed in her trap house that she was staying at. She had just got out of jail. She had been addicted to drugs for a very long time. And from what I understand, she overdosed on her own accord in the bathroom, but these 2 women who were living there was told to go and get rid of her body so that the drug dealer wouldn't get in trouble, or dealers wouldn't get in trouble. There seems to be a theme here with drugs in these cases with missing children. There tends to be a pattern. So when the case law text that was given from the prosecution who dropped Sarah Wondras' charge to the judge was like, I see now. Like, I understand why you're dropping this charge. And basically, because these two women disposed of her body in the Coeur d'Alene Lake, because she had overdosed and was told to by the big drug guys. The failure to report a death charge that one of the ladies got was dropped because of self-incrimination. Okay. So you have what is it? The Fifth Amendment to not say anything, right? And you also have that one amendment, I can't think of it now because I had pregnancy brain, for self-incrimination. So that's why that law in itself, failure to report a death, is actually very unconstitutional in some people's eyes. And I kind of have to agree on that. But at the same time, like, it sucks because a confession is a confession, right? If you decide to do it, you're charged. But if you fail to do it, it's unconstitutional. So I see like where the line is drawn there. It's hard. But either way, there was no other charges that were put on her in regards to Michael Vaughan. If we remember, y'all, the reason why she was charged was because she rattled her mouth off in a crazy, I don't know where she went in her brain, but she went somewhere and it wasn't reality, and started rattling off who could, or God telling her who did what to Michael and where to find him. And they never did. They never found Michael in that yard. Now, could they have found evidence? Okay, probably. Maybe. I don't know. Fruitland Police Department will not release any update except for this does not deter our investigation, the course of our investigation, which I don't even know what that is anymore. Yep, 2 years. 2 years. Eve, tell them about those babies taken by the babysitter to prove it can happen. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely look into it in just a second here. I looked at it earlier a little bit, then I had to jet, but a little bit different circumstances than Michael Vaughan's case. That's for sure. By the way, the babysitter has been unofficially cleared. I've seen it with my own eyes, though, where a detective has said she has not been a suspect since, or even somebody of interest since September of 2021. And that was that was around the time that they got her laptop and her cell phone and all that stuff and kept it for 2 months and gave it back to her like, cool. Right. Okay. But there are no new charges that we are aware of yet on anybody. Not Adrienne Lucene, not Brandon Shirtliff, nobody. But I wanted to talk about something that happened right after her failure to report a death charge was dropped. There is a theme in the Brandi Neal community, Michael Vaughan, Brandi Neal community, to go after any and everybody that just does not agree or support in 100% unwavering faith that Michael was abducted and that these people did something to him. I look at the facts, I look at the reasoning, I look at the timeline, I look at the lies, I look at the history, I look at the past criminal history, behavior, current behavior, and it doesn't look good to me. I'm not saying they're guilty of anything. I've always stood by my story that somebody in that house knows more than they're saying. And I will always say that until I'm proven wrong, and then it is what it is. But the interesting thing that's going on here is that everybody that was close or around the family of Michael Vaughan definitely is struggling right now in their lives. and you want to guess, please, somebody, everybody, put in the chat what you think they are struggling with. That could be the similar situation going on with people around Dawn and Candace's circle in the Summerwell case. I'll give you a second. Time's up. It's drugs. It's drugs and alcohol. And not being able to stay out of jail. And lack of evidence, Brooklyn, yes. So far, that we know of. I hope that woke y'all up too, because I know my voice can put some of y'all to sleep, so I hope that buzz noise scared the shit out of you. And this is my reckoning for those who fall asleep on me. Right? Is he safe? Who? No one's safe. What are we laughing about? Cassis, I'm not convinced Sarah knew everything that was going on with her taxi business and their towing business. I'd like to know more about Stacey. And Adrian. And not from Crystal Jewel, because she's nuts. That dome piece got rocked too many times. She needs to quit. My next two read, you spoke with Sarah Wondra. Oh, I had spoke to Sarah while she was being held for medical clearance. Interesting. Uh-huh. Cool. I mean, is he even deceased? Says Sloofy. Where's my soundboard? I have to be appropriate with this. It's a slow clap. Because that's exactly correct. I mean, is he? We are confident, says J.D. Huff. He's in the backyard. The scent dogs hit on him. Or hit on human remains. But Michael's back there. Well, okay, he wasn't back there. He was then moved, okay? Like, he was there and then he moved. We don't know yet. But, like, he was there. And now he's not. Okay. Okay. So let's look at a few things. I think that her refiled charges from April 2022, Sarah Wondras, they can't find Tanner. Now, who's Tanner? Real quick, Tanner is somebody that was staying at the house among many people that went in and out of 1102 Red Wing, who got into a fight with Sarah, and Sarah took it to the next level. Hit him with a dog bone in the back of the dome piece. Pulled a gun out that she was not supposed to have, which is where the federal gun charge she is currently going through in the federal court system. And she hid the gun in the purse that had 3 expired Vicodins from a previous prescription. She stuck the gun in the purse and took it to her mama's to hide it, which is concealing and destroying evidence, but whatever. And she's looking at life because of all of these felonies that she's got from previous stuff. And Idaho has 3 strikes rule, where you're automatically sentenced to, like, I think 5 years, no ifs, ands, or buts if you have 3 felonies or more. And then it gets worse. All right. And if it's a violent one, it gets even worse. It's bad. So basically, you get punished twice. You get punished multiple times. But pedos in Idaho, it's whatever. They don't even have to register sometimes. It just depends. It just depends. It's pathetic. And I'm not taking up for Sarah because Sarah is going to get what she deserves in a sense of what her crimes are with this if she's found guilty. But she did plead not guilty. She sure damn did. I don't blame her. She doesn't want to go to prison for life. Especially if her man is throwing her under the bus for funsies to mess with her, which is what I think this might be. I think this is all a sham. My next who read, her friend was able to speak with her, asked her if I could speak to her. I wanted to ask some questions. Sarah said, okay. I called the number, asked for Sarah. The lady got her and we spoke for about an hour. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Brooklyn, for deleting that. That was horrible, that comment. Yeah, well, let me know what you said to her. Let me know what your conversation was. That way I can make sure to go to and talk to her and verify it, because there's been a lot of slander against that woman, no matter deserved or not, that has never been confirmed. So, and the Unfab Four, which is Adrienne Lucien, Brandon Shirtliff, and all of their family, like anybody that's in the path of Brandi's crew that think that they are investigators of some sort, that have the authority to do so. They put out all this crazy shit, and you can't verify it. You can't. There's nothing you can do, and people don't even care. But it does spread like wildfire. And she was probably read Brandon's name when the search warrant was being served, but it doesn't sound like she blamed him like she did Stacy and Adrienne. I think that she remembered who was there at her house that day and was like, makes sense. Holy shit. God is literally talking to me, which really her brain was just going through scenarios, but she mistook that for God telling her, in my opinion only, that, had it been Adrienne, he was too scared. She's going through this psychosis. She's insane. The woman stood out for 4 hours and stared at the sky until she collapsed. Her neighbor called the cops on her because she just stared at the sky for hours. And when the cops came to ask her, are you okay, fam? She's like, yeah, and I'm going to be out here for a little bit longer. I am not lying. She's something else. I didn't feel comfortable at the time speaking about it out of respect for Monkey's mom. Well, maybe you should message Brandi and talk to her about that, maybe. And the police, if she said anything. All right, so let's go to Sarah's court stuff, because I haven't checked on it in a day or two. Notice of service of discovery requests. She pled not guilty to all of her charges. She's got a pretrial conference, ironically, on Summer Wells' 2-year anniversary. Very, very weird. But it is what it is. Just eerie. Nothing there. But we do know that the last time they subpoenaed Tanner Butler, it was not served on April 13th. Ironically, the anniversary of Stacy and Sarah's anniversary disaster, because they fought. Talk about numerology, huh? Okay, it wasn't funny, but yeah, 424, return of service, subpoena Butler, meaning that they are going to subpoena him again. Nothing. Where are you, Tanner? Where are you? They might have some time. They might have talked to him. I don't know. All right. Now, before I leave, I've got about 10 minutes. I want you to listen to something. Before we go into another thing that is very, very odd about Michael Vaughan's case. All right. Whew. Let me look and see if I can find it on YouTube. So we all know critters doing harm on the farm, right? We need more than 10 minutes. I can probably push it a little more than that. Let's see. You know what? I'll do that if everybody goes and hits that like button. Let's see where I'm at right now. 46 likes, 60 viewers. We're missing something. Lurkers in the back. You can hit that like button. It won't tell me who you are, but you can go ahead and hit it. You can go ahead and hit it. Come on. You don't hate me that much. And if you do, and you're still watching, hit it anyway. Don't be scared. All right. I think it was Rose of Sharon, who is friends with Critters Doing Harm on the Farm, Daisy, right? I think it's like something Rose of Sharon. Prayer Rose, something like that. Somebody remind me. I don't remember. It's like Prayers Rose of Sharon or something. Yeah, we're going to go over that, y'all. You know what I'm doing, right? Is it her? Sayla. Thank you, Brooklyn. You're the best. Thank you. It's Sayla. Sayla Rose. Now, I want to tell you something. I do not dislike this creator. I think she's very sweet. She's very spiritual. I mean no disrespect to her. I mean all the disrespect to Daisy. You could go ahead and bet that. Like, it's a wrap. It's been a wrap since the Rose Bly business, because I do care about Rose Bly too, and her case. And I've got a lot of information on her case, like actual court documents. Okay. So it was very disrespectful. So Critters on the Harm Doing Farm. But this Sayla Rose seems really sweet, and she's very spiritual. And I don't mean any disrespect to her. I really don't. What is her damn handle? Why can't I think of it? I'm going to put Sayla Rose or something like that. Brandi, Neal, Sarah, Wondra, maybe. You can go ahead and time out Rapper. I'm going to go ahead and hide him on the channel too. And report you. Hate speech. Cool. Okay, where is this Sayla? Did she take it off? I hope not, because I really needed to address this. Sayla Rose of Sharon, that's what I thought. She's not popping up. Maybe she blocked me because I was not the nicest person in the chat. Not because of her, but because of her little Brandi's minion friends. And I'll say what I said. I said what I said. Okay. I'm not gonna play anything because I don't want to get struck. No strickety strikes for this channel. It was about, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago? Live man from Sarah Wondras past speaks out. Okay, so Sayla Rose of Sharon was sequestered, I'm sure, through Daisy and Brandi Neal to go after Sarah, because they're not talking. Once that failure to report a death was dropped, baby, it was war. Like, even more so. Because LaWanda Westbrook, the PR rep's letter to Tina, Brandon Shirtlift's mother, didn't cut it. Because they didn't find Michael Vaughan's stuff there either. So it was like, go time. We're gonna try to character assassinate like they always do, and that's fine. Do you, boo boo? Whatever, but do it right. Be factual. Do it right. So here they are talking. The chat is banging, dude. We're coming in there left and right, swinging. Okay, especially me. I got booted like as I always do because I'm just so cutthroat bitch, right? I got kicked out, I think, or blocked within the first 10 minutes of me talking. And I because it really upsets me and hurts me when people lie and not only lie, but are instructed to do gang shit like destroy somebody's life. You know, when your man was the one that lost your baby, like go to your man and ask him what happened with his failed polygraph looking ass. Like, how many times do we have to go over this? So I'm just going to say, if you want to go watch it, you go watch it. Okay. Shout out to Sayla. No offense to you, boo-boo. Critters doing harm. Fuck off. Eat a bag of rocks. But what had happened was they were going after Sarah's first husband. He was scared to come on panel. They were going to have him talk about her. However, because he has a family and doesn't want to be harassed, and I'm sure he doesn't want the real truth coming out, he said, no. But Brandi Neal comes into the chat and says, thank you for all that you do. Thank you. And Sayla says, do you want me to ask him anything else? Any other questions? Let me know. So there was Brandi Neal and Sayla and probably Critters working together to bring up what they spoke to her first husband, now ex-husband, about. Well, let me show you exactly what they were trying to accomplish, but I'll go ahead and finish it with the truth because we won't be doing this. I see a lot of uptick in YouTubers being reached out to for more advocacy for yes, Michael Vaughan, but Brandi Neal and the family, and that's fine. Like, that's none of my business about that. However, what comes with that is also hatred towards my channel for speaking the truth on Michael Vaughan. I don't care about anybody else but Michael or Summer or Oakley or Lena. The Cow City boys who had my heart in a blender that whole trial. I don't care about the parents' feelings. I don't care. This is not the place to get good feelings and warm fuzzies on parents, uncleared parents of missing children. You won't get it here. Right? So, yeah, I'm not going to play this. And the chat is not coming up. So maybe if I refresh. I'm trying to get the chat to pop up. Here we go. Yep. So a lot of bashing, a lot of doo-doo. All right. Sorry, I'm just reading something. So there's Moo. And they're like, her first husband said she was crazy. And he called FPD and said, do not let her out. She is insane. Like, she probably did something and she should not be let out. Like, she's bananas, which, look, baby, I agree. Like, she's crazy. But you're not going to sit here and try to bash her through this man when you don't know what he's done to her. Doesn't matter what she's done because we don't know anything right now. We don't know the entirety. But what we do know is what the court documents say. I'm going to show you. Because your girl and the weasels got the truth. You know we did. It's the only way. One moment. I'm going to pull them all up. All right, let's read this. Okay. The state versus this dude. Assault family violence. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas. Woo-wee! Yeehaw. On or about the 10th day of June, 2009. Hey, Marlena. And before the making and filing of this complaint in the county of Ellis in the state of Texas, this guy, her first husband, Sarah Wondras' first husband, did then and there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to Sarah Chambers, that is Sarah Wondra, a member of the defendant's family, by hitting her neck and face with his fist and kicking her with his feet. And it gets worse than the other documents I have. That's just a summary, because this is how it works in the offense for Texas. Like, this is how they file it. It's just a summary, kind of like a probable cause. And then they sign off on it. Okay. Let me pull this up. That we're going to wait on. If they really wanted any fingerprints or any evidence or any DNA about this guy, they could get it, because he's got like his fingerprints taken, his DNA taken. So I do not think that this guy has anything to do with Michael Vaughan's case. Sorry, I don't. And you shouldn't either. It's yeah. So this is the defendant's affidavit of indigence. Can't afford shit, right? And it just kind of gives the information that they are married. They are married. They weren't just boyfriend, girlfriend. They're married. So I just want to show everybody that this is real. June 16, 2009. This was way before even being in Idaho with Stacy. Like, this was way before. And she talks about this situation with this guy named Ricky on her TikTok that nobody really seems to care about, but except for comment how she's a murderer. We don't know for a fact yet. She very well could be. She very well could be a conspirator. We don't know yet, if at all. But she goes into detail about what happens to her, and exactly what happened to her, or what she says, is in these documents. They're here. And the reason why they were dropped, because she was the witness and she moved back to where her parents lived in Oregon at the time. All right, that's why the charges were dropped, and he was never officially found guilty for the assault. But there was witnesses that I will not put up here that said that, yes, that did happen. She did have marks. She did have pictures. She had it all. She did have it. But because she moved and they could not subpoena her, it was dropped. Okay? But they were trying to get this man to do an interview to talk about how bad and crazy and schizophrenic and weird, and how she could potentially do something to Michael. Like, this was the guy that they were going to go interview and blast her on. You're going to go get somebody's ex-abuser to come up on panel, but he was too scared to, because I'm pretty sure that he knew somebody would be like, wait a minute, like me. He didn't want to really go there. And he backed out of an interview. And that's what you go watch this video, that's exactly what they said. If I'm lying, I'm lying. So what do you think about that, guys? What do you think about somebody trying to intimidate you because of your son's case through a domestic violence situation? I disagree. I disagree 100%. She is not. Yeah, people don't investigate, but go with the narrative. And the funny thing is that I really try to play nice in different creators' chats to see where they're at. And it's the same. It's the same. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard, well, Brandi, speaks to law enforcement every day. And I'm not trying to say that she is guilty of anything. But her behavior is just a few steps up from these other parents. We have been through the ringer. I personally have been doxxed, harassed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying cry for me, but I'm saying that because I put out recordings just like everybody else does when they have information about something about Summer Wells, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Duh. But what about, talking about the DV issue, the domestic violence issue with Dawn and Candace? It's either Candace had it coming or Dawn is such an abuser. But when I released the recording about Brandi punching Tyler and clocked him over the couch, punching him in the face, it's, oh, you bitch. I don't care. It's not about shaming her. It's about showing you guys that behavior is behavior. Behavior is behavior. And it was funny to her. It was funny. Michael Vaughn's still missing. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I hope to God he did not see that. I hope to God they didn't witness that as children all the time. Like, that's the stuff that I'm scared of and worry about. That's just me. Just on ding, ding, ding. Maybe it's because you're threatening to others, meaning you may be too close. I have been close many times. Matter of fact, when somebody who used to be around, let's just say, kind of exposed that we were trying to get a search done. I mean, it was like, you would have thought how hard they came at me, people around Brandi, directly from Brandi. You would have thought that I did something to Sweet Michael. Like, that's how hard they came at me. And I was just trying to search using my search skills and the equipment that I have. But ironically, 2 days later, Stacey Wondras goes to jail. And then people start showing up and staying at their house while Sarah and Stacey Wondras are in jail. They are in jail, and there are people staying, random people staying at their house. Some of them know, let's just say, family members of Michael Vaughan. Some of them have connections that know people around the Vaughan family. Maybe I shouldn't say that and insinuate anything. I'm just saying that's the truth. And it's very interesting that those things that in the Summer Wells case, good God, that's gold. That is gold. You do it here? How dare you? And I'm just trying to find this boy and to find out who did this. Who did this? There's nothing funny about domestic violence. And there's nothing funny about using that as a reason to, quote unquote, interrogate somebody that you think may have something to do with your child's disappearance or the police when it is not relevant at all. Time-wise, because it was over, 12 years before Michael disappeared on your husband's watch. And he didn't come up on panel because he knew damn well he was wrong, and he knew he was the one that probably didn't help her mental state as she is now. The trauma of getting your ass beat, yeah, it's not fun. Some of us have been there, and you don't go and use that to exploit them because you think that they may have something to do with it. It's not okay. And this shit's been going on for a year and a half. We are not intimidated. We see the tactics. We are not intimidated by Candace or Dawn. We are truth seekers. We are light seekers, and we expose them. That's what we're here for. The children who are in the dark, and we are their voice. Sharing flyers can only get you so far. Those kids don't care about your fucking flyers. They want to be found or put to sleep or put to rest properly. They don't care about anything else. They're children, and that's what they should be caring about, is being protected by the people that love them. So if they're not going to do it, we have creators out here who will, and I am one of them. And I will not back down, and I will not stop. I will not stop. I will not stop searching. I will not stop looking, sleuthing, doing whatever I have to do to keep these kids in your minds and theories in your minds. When you pigeonhole yourself into these different types of situations that other creators tell you how to think, that's a problem. It's a problem. Even the best of investigators fall short of that. It happens, but think for yourself. Go with your gut. Spend your energy wisely on these YouTube streets because it's about to get wild. We are revamping basically 2021 and 2022 all over again with these children's cases. But now it's going to be even more exponentially insane because everybody feels like they have the answer. Everybody feels like they're right, and they're trying to confirm their theory through creators. And it's going to get ugly again. But I'm here for it. Come at me, bro. Because all I care about is these kids and missing persons and justice. It's all I care about. So if you want to be Gang Michael Vaughan, don't pigeonhole yourself into other creators who have been asked to do that for the family. Also come over here and think critically and don't bash my ass because it's not going to work anyway. And listen. Listen to what people who have other opinions have to say. Because it's not about who's being right or wrong. It's about the freaking truth. And these kids that are missing, this 1% chance of a predator abduction are typically found and it's solved within 3 days. 3 days to a week. It's usually boom, bam, found. But Court TV and ID channel has you thinking that this happens every day, all day. And it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's all I've got. Oh, no, I don't. One more thing. There are people around Michael Vaughan's family and friends of the family, if you will, that are weird in a sense in their decision-making skills. Unfortunately, back in May of 2022, which is ironically when Stacy Wondra had the federal gun charge put on him, there was a double homicide in New Plymouth, which is about 10 to 15, 20 minutes away, depending on where you live in New Plymouth. And it was a double homicide of Eric Ortega and Megan Amaya. All right? That's their names. Eric Ortega and Megan Amaya. And no matter what happened, I feel for the family. I know his daughter, Eric's daughter, and Megan's daughters. And if they have sons, I'm not sure, but they're heartbroken. Heartbroken. So what had happened was they were found on May 15th into the early hours of May 16th, 2022, shot to death in Eric Ortega's home. Now, was Eric Ortega a bright, standing citizen, no criminal history? No, not even a little. Was Megan and Amaya perfect? No. But for about a year and a half, they had no updates as to what happened. Nobody would talk about this homicide. No evidence, no nothing. Why can I not find the update? I know that it's in Discord, but I can't populate it. Now, Eric Ortega is someone who knows the family of Michael Vaughan or one of the family. I'm not going to say who it is, but listen, they know each other. And Mr. Eric got out allegedly of prison for drug trafficking and such. Allegedly right before Michael went missing. Right before, like it says 7/21 on the iDoc link, which is 6 days before. But I see that this guy named Eric has been commenting on people who are friends with Brandi, Neal, and Tyler Vaughan in 2020. He might have had a prison phone. I'm not sure. Maybe he was out on witness protection. I do not know. But what I do know, y'all, is that this guy got out early. And not only did he get out early on this drug trafficking and conspiracy and controlled substance charges, federal charges. For some reason, there was a sealed motion right before he was murdered on May 16th, 15th or 16th. Murdered. And I don't know how Amanda ties into this, guys, but maybe she was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know. All right. And I cannot find the update. I have looked and looked and looked. Here it goes. I found it. Sorry, it took so long. My Discord sometimes just doesn't work. So nothing was done, okay? Nothing was updated. It was very weird. And, oh, shit. Of course, it's going to make me pay because Argus Observer, you suck. However, I made notes. Hold on. 1 second, guys. Don't leave. This is important to keep in mind when you're seeing Michael Vaughan's case, because it could be related, could be nothing. All right. Sorry I have to do this, but this is the way it is. So there was significant progress a year later after they were murdered in May of 2022, around the time that Stacey goes to jail. Stacey Wondras. Idaho State Police took the lead on this investigation. In December of 2022, the sheriff said they were still waiting for evidence to finish processing and noted that there was a backlog in getting forensic evidence processed. Think about Michael's case with the evidence. Remember, we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the DNA to be tested and come back. Well, obviously there is a backlog, but they didn't use Idaho State Police. This was back in what? January? December and January in Michael's case that they were waiting. But they went to a private DNA lab and we still don't know anything. So that's interesting. So in an email update on the case, Tuesday, which is very recently, Creech said, Fayette County Sheriff, said as a result of the investigation, law enforcement officials have now identified the main suspect. Almost a year later, it's amazing. We have made significant progress. We believe that the official charges will be issued soon. Once charges are filed, the suspect's name will be released. Creech expressed gratitude for assistance from the public. We appreciate the many tips and information we've received. They're still waiting for evidence to come back. And I think that that's what they're waiting on to solidify this, okay? Here's the thing. Very recently in Idaho, in Oregon and in Idaho, there have been police who have been murdered while trying to apprehend very, very prominent gang members, specifically in Nampa. I think one was Nissa. And so there have been deaths of police officers trying to get a hold of the drug gangs it's a horrific problem right now in Idaho. And then that came out. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, okay. There was a drug trafficking and human trafficking expert agent who was on the case. Not only that, but a child abduction expert, FBI agent named Doug Hart. The other one's name is Nimmo. His last name is Nimmo. They were working on Michael Vaughan's case at the same time that they were working on Lori Daybell Ballow's case. Okay. So they dropped off, or at least Nimmo did. Nimmo, again, is drug trafficking and violent crime and stuff like that. He was the one that charged Stacey Wondra. His name was on the paperwork for Stacey Wondra. Federal gun charge. So, for the investigation. So it's like, man, this is really just kind of meshing together a little bit with the timeline. You know, is there something connecting that homicide, double homicide in New Plymouth to Michael's case somehow? Is there a connection there? Because not only is there connections on a family level or a friendship level, but a community level. There are people that are in, Payette and Fruitland and New Plymouth and Caldwell that know this man and Megan, who are very close to Michael's family. And it could be just a fluke. I'm not saying that they're guilty of anything, but I'm saying typically when somebody is, if you're going to go the route of the child being abducted, Michael Vaughan, whether it be controlled or not, it's usually somebody around the family. As we just stated in Summer Wells's case at the beginning of this live. So, is there a connection here? Here's a video.
Also in New Plymouth, the search is on for a suspect in a double homicide that happened early yesterday morning. And we now know the names of the people who were killed. Police say the victims have been identified as 45-year-old Eric Ortega and 45-year-old Megan Amaya, both of them from New Plymouth. The Payette County Sheriff's Office says they responded to reports of a shooting at a home on Ada Road at about 2 a.m. yesterday. They found the two victims inside the house. The shooting is being treated as a double homicide. Idaho State Police are helping with the investigation. Police are still looking for a suspect, but they don't believe there is any threat to the public. No word yet on what led up to the shootings. As always, we'll update you on ktvb.com and here on the news when we get more information.
Yeah, so that was the original coverage, and that's where it lied for a year until just recently that they have a suspect. And once evidence comes back and charges are filed, they will release the name. At the same time, right, the interesting thing is that they submitted evidence in December. This happened in May of 2022. Well, they excavated the backyard of Sarah Wondra and Stacey Wondra's home in November and sent off DNA in December and January. Are they related? See the timeline. Maybe they thought it was something, or maybe they thought it was connected and it wasn't. Or maybe it was kind of like a cover-up, set-up thing. Set these people up because they're not going anywhere in their lives anyway. Let's set these fuckers up. They live right next, excuse my language. They live right next to RSO's Starkey, open and shut case. Whoever's really involved in Michael. Those are the things that I'm thinking of. Because if you drop a charge like that with no other charges against Michael, regarding Michael Vaughan's case, you just drop and move on. Stacey Wondras' plea changes back to where it began. By the way, his federal gun charge, please start changing back. Everything starts shifting back to normal again. Like the excavation and all that stuff never happened. I am seeing consistency in this. It's very strange. So you can sometimes tell what's going on. Things fell through in these cases. Who is covering for who in this case? Who has connections and ties they shouldn't have in this case for Michael Vaughan? Was Michael Vaughan, this poor baby, a target for bigger things that were going on? Maybe. Was Summer Wells a target that she had nothing to do with, and neither did Michael? It all comes back to the unfortunate thought. Did drugs have the indirect or maybe direct cause of why these children are missing? It's possible. And if you think it's not, you're very naive. Because it is possible and it happens every day. It does happen. Accidents happen. Getting involved in the wrong people happen. But those children were innocent and did not deserve it. If that's the case, they don't deserve to not be looked after, and they do not deserve to be blamed. For why they are gone. And I've heard it on both sides, and it's unfair. However, everything just goes right back to normal, and I'm sitting here brokenhearted for these children, but everything seems to start looking normal for everyone else directly around these kids. I hope I'm not too much of a pain in your ass because now it's time to shine. This is where the real nitty-gritty needs to happen, because it's going to, if we don't fight the right fight this time, it's going to be 3 years, then 4 years, then 5 years, then 6 years. And I'm sure some people want that are guilty or directly involved or indirectly involved that could be go into prison for a long time too. Maybe said drug dealer or informant or whatever. But it's time. It's time to fight. We're not Chicken Littles. We can handle it. And let's speak our truth for Michael Vaughan and Summer Wells and every single missing person that is not found under suspicious circumstances. They deserve that fight. And let's do it. All right, guys. I'm out of breath. I'm hungry. I want to go get some tacos. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button on your way out. And please leave some hearts for Summer and Michael, please. They deserve it. You know, as I say, drink your water, hug yourself, your babies, your fur babies, your grandbabies. Let's find these missing babies. Let's hold those who did something accountable and let law enforcement do their job. And I will see you on the flip side, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.